I had 4 of my coworkers kill or capture as many bosses in Palworld within 3 hours. This happened during one of our breaks at work. One of them was curious why the game was selling so well and asked the rest of us about it. Surprisingly, I was the only one that had played the game and put some couple of hours in. A bunch of back and forth, the unappealing nature of unguided gameplay, open world survival, graphics, yada 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 yada. I said, alright, just get the game and I'll set up something that you guys can tunnel vision on, just like a railroaded D&D campaign, and see how it goes. My thinking here was that if they have an obvious goal for a given session, they'll figure out the fundamental steps to achieve that goal and naturally understand the game and its appeal. So, I made a dedicated server, set up some values, and littered the place with a dozen stuff in camps, and here we are. There are a bunch of bosses in the game, so I had them team up for a 2v2 since they had varying levels of experience. One had sub-casual experience in gaming, but likes the news of the industry, while the rest range from familiar with Pokemon to no experience in survival games to having played a few survival games. To also add a bit of competitive encouragement to the mix, the one with the highest amount of points after 3 hours wins. 1 point for killing or capturing one of the overworld bosses, those that are seen on the map itself, and 3 points for defeating one of the tower bosses. Since all bosses respawn, only the first time counts for that particular boss, encouraging them to explore to get more points. I gave them a bunch of starting gear and the increased XP rate in the server to speed up the inherent sluggish part of survival games at the start. And off they went. I did forget to record our voice chat, but my coworkers also didn't want their voices to be in this video. It started off somewhat well. Team B of Calyx and Azelhart zipped off to the right of the starting platform as they saw some Chickpeas and Lambles, catching them for some early XP. Team A of Crush and Ray, on the other hand, went to the pre-made base that had some resources and crafting tables, hoping to go around the area to get better pals than those in the starting zone. But since the base on purpose was placed in a cliffed area with rarely any piles, they just got the resources and headed back to the starting zone. So now with both teams together, the scramble to get piles and those early levels begin. With Team B planning to kill the piles that Team A were attempting to catch, forgetting that we were all in the same voice chat. But that didn't stop them from interfering with Team A later. Within the first 10 minutes, most of them were close to reaching level 10. Due to the starter gear with various tiers of pal spheres already given to them, they could focus on catching and building up a team to tackle the bosses soon. Team A even found 2 shiny pals right beside each other, but they accidentally killed the Gummas. A couple more minutes passed and night hit, so they tried to set up camp to play it safe. I'm using camp very loosely here. Oh, and Ray's shiny Kativa burned one of the Islander NPCs to death at some point during the night. Team B, on the other hand, found a Dinosaur and attempted to catch it, with their first go at it not ending well. After recovering their bodies, their second attempt went much better. It took about 30 minutes before any of the teams left the starting zone, which had hindered their growth in terms of level and pals. Fortunately, Team A found the dungeon and headed right in, hoping to get a boost in XP, some items, and a good pal in the boss room, although these boss pals do not count to the score. While Team A has crept towards their first overworld boss, the Chillette, having Tombat, which is a good pal to have in the early game, along with Poison Blast to chip away its health, they were able to capture it with relative ease, putting the first point on the board. Unfortunately, this was the only point in the first hour of the challenge. The teams were busy getting gear and pals but forgetting to scout around to find the bosses. So to speed things up a little, I went to a few bosses and used myself as a marker for them to place down pings on their map, hopefully to guide them to their next targets. And that they did. Almost simultaneously, Team A went for Chillette, which had respawned while Team B targeted Azorobe. Unfortunately, Team B did not make it out alive, allowing Team A to tie the score 1-1. With the main pals of Team B out of the count, Team A tried to take advantage of it, going for Pen King, which, if defeated, would take 1 hour to respawn, effectively locking out a relatively easy boss out of Team B's grasp. I did say relatively easy. At this point, we were beyond the halfway mark in the 3-hour challenge. Team B took this time to recoup the resources and make some upgrades to their gear and strategize their PAL teams to attempt Azurub again. While Team A picked up their bodies and scoured the area for pals or camps. And a new day in-game began. Team B's pals have recovered and they reattempted Azurub, utilizing the type advantage with Broncherry to tank a couple of hits, while Tombath was off to the side to deal damage, which the boss itself took offense to and immediately knocked out the Tombath, along with the Brustilla. But they were able to whittle it down and capture it for their second point. Now, after a bit of crafting theft and mounting of Melpacas, we had less than 1 hour to go. Team A goes for Azurub this time with a fast capture using a stronger Pal Sphere, tying it up once again at 2-2. While Team B scouts out the Catress boss, but Azalhard gets double teamed by Deers, while Calyx pokes a Rexosaurus and finds out. After regrouping, they went for Pen King, which Team A forgot to reattempt, taking the point lead 3-2 and effectively locking it out for the remaining time. On the other hand, Team A headed to another island and caught a Gumos and Sweepa, hoping to put them in the lead. But with Team B taking down King Paka, the score was still tied 4-4. Even after a couple of minutes, the score is still tied 5-5 with Team A catching a Broncherry, while a Catress was for Team B. And with less than 10 minutes left, the teams were in a mad scramble to find the next boss, avoiding the higher leveled ones in fear of being set back greatly if their main pals are knocked out. And Calyx was able to find one, a level 17 Grintail. But Azalhart was quite far away and had been experiencing connection issues during the last 30 minutes of the challenge. So he opted to do it alone. Using the Pen King they caught earlier, it was dealing good damage and eventually caught the Grintail. Now, with less than 5 minutes left, Team A could still tie this. Going for the nearby Bushy, Ray attempted to solo it, but gets taken down after being cornered by the boss. Crush finally enters with the aim to revive Ray, while Bushy was luckily targeting me as I was busy capturing the footage, but at the last moment the Bushy aggroed on Crush, hitting them with the Wind Cutter, taking down their shield, and in an odd moment, blinks right beside them, immediately knocking them out. It was over. The 3-hour timer alarmed and everyone headed back to the starting platform. The score was 6-5 with Calyx and the still disconnecting Azalhart winning the challenge. Overall, the session was enjoyable. It gave my co-workers a decent primer of the gameplay loop along with what Palworld can offer. Hopefully you all enjoyed that as well. I know there are a bunch of improvements that I have likely overlooked, so do let me know what those are. If you want more content regarding Palworld, do let me know. If you want me to make a review out of it or go into more guides, I'll be happy to do them as long as there's interest in them. And if you have ideas for possible challenges for me or co-workers, not just in Palworld but in other games as well, do put them in the comments and I'll check them out. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next one.